Oh, you're missing out on all my sweet audio. I'll read it again. No, I won't read it again. But I was reading you about this great building here that has these atriums. It has this grass growing on the side, and it's a big skyscraper metaphor. You see, the building is covered with green grass and plants and such, whereas the skin of the building is red. So it's green covered with red. I blew it, man. It says, God, it was so good. It says, over the past few years, through their innovative use of green and open spaces, WOHA have designed a new type of tropical skyscraper, which, despite all its connections to nature, makes no secret of its machine aesthetics. I'll skip ahead a little. The green of the plantings creates a striking contrast to the complementary red of the facade. Isn't this great? The latter consists of thin, perforated aluminum panels over which the creepers grow and spread. In front of the window bands, where the panels appear only blah, blah. Okay, so it goes on and on. You missed out. Oh, 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 well. I didn't see you guys come in for real this time because you were muted. So welcome to Bitcoin Talk Show. We were talking about skyscrapers from this book here, The Best High Rises of 2018, 2019, from the Frankfurt Architecture Museum in Frankfurt. We're talking about sky rises because we got a bit of a sky rise on our hands right here. As I was saying, the green creepers growing up the outside of the red shell. This is Bitcoin Talk Show. Today is Wednesday, December 19th, 2018. I started the show with the sound muted. Never done that before. My name is Thomas Hunt, and this is Bitcoin Talk Show. The price of Bitcoin is up about 4% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 3,861, a high of 3,987, and a low of 3,528. That's $1 for 26,025 Satoshis, back on its way down, perhaps towards the 25,000 Satoshi barrier. Remember, we've seen 15,000 Satoshis, we've seen 5,000 Satoshis. We've been all over this Satoshi board now. The trader who nailed the Bitcoin top just covered his short. He's given up on squeezing more out of the lemon and says that he took advantage of the token at the height of the frenzy, betting against Bitcoin because more people were buying in than understood the currency. People were just buying in because they thought it would go up in value, not because they understood what Bitcoin was or what it's for. Maybe next time will be different. Bitcoin rallies 10%, extending this week's gains after months of crypto carnage. Months and months and months. Cryptocurrency is capping off an awful year and is down 72% since January. It's an impressive push from the floor. It's certainly a hell of a lot more cost efficient to buy now. The hope is that the market has cold, jumpy retail investors, and as regulators move in, we start to see some much needed stability. Anytime anyone calls for stability, you know what happens in Bitcoin? We get the opposite. That's right. BitPay CEO, is that still a thing? Speculation drives Bitcoin price. Mass adoption 3 to 5 years away. Well, maybe we could make that faster if BitPay would focus on Bitcoin. Of course, down here it describes him as a prominent cryptocurrency proponent. And I'm sure he's more into crypto, as he says here. You'll be able to go to a store that will accept a blockchain payment, whatever the hell that is. Bitcoin, hold on. The ride's just starting. Part 2. From Seeking Alpha, where pretty much anyone can post articles. Bitcoin has hit the buy zone. Don't get caught up in the fundamentals of digital currencies, because who cares about like real things or what they're for? All that really matters is the price and that you can make money. It's just a trade. 4 steps to huge returns, but keep exposure small. It won't take much capital to make huge returns. Oh, I love it when I make huge returns. Such a mess. His last article of Bitcoin in October was at 7,200. He provided a price target of 2,488 to 4,175. and it hit the target like clockwork. He now thinks that there's upside for cryptocurrencies. As he said, cryptocurrencies represent the proverbial raw nerve of crowd sentiment. And as I previously discussed, there's no better measure of crowd sentiment than applying long-term logarithmic Fibonacci extensions to the underlying wave pattern of volatile instruments, like those of digital currencies. Macro fundamentals are no doubt relevant in understanding how digital currencies and blockchain technology fit into how commerce will be conducted in the future. However, in practical terms of where to enter long positions or where to exit and stand on the sidelines like a cuckold, the discussion of macro fundamental merits of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies belongs with a glass of brandy and a comfortable chair next to a nice warm fireplace. That does sound nice. He says there's some great opportunities to have a long swinging trade opportunity in Bitcoin with your brandy and your fireplace. So keep your eyes on that. The traders might be back. Bitcoin reached an all-time high last year. Now you might be digging for coal. Looks like MSNBC or NBC News, whoever this is, wrote their article yesterday. We're sorry, you've got to be faster than that. You can't hold on to the articles for multiple days. Bitcoin's not down anymore. It's going back up. It's all over. It's all over. Not so sure. Iranians still profiting from Bitcoin mining despite market crash and US sanctions. Iranians are turning to Bitcoin mining due to economic difficulties caused by sanctions from the United States, according to international affairs think tank Atlantic Council. Despite the recent crash in Bitcoin and crypto markets and fluctuation in the national currency of Iran, the Iranian people are still managing to gain profits from mining Bitcoin. And they quote some very small examples. Okay. And I hope those guys are doing well. The two guys in Iran, the brothers who are mining, hope they do well. But crypto mining was legally accepted as an industry by a number of Iranian state authorities in early September. Trading cryptocurrencies is still not legal in the country, as the Central Bank of Iran banned domestic banks from dealing with crypto earlier in 2018. Some Iranian students in the United Kingdom are using crypto to avoid U.S. sanctions, according to a report filed by The Guardian. Once again, we've got students, we've got 26-year-old brothers. We're not exactly seeing mainstream corporate or government-backed mining in Iran, such that would necessitate the creation of an entire article. So this seems largely hopeful thinking from Bitcoiners. As an attempt to support economic stability in the region, the Iranian government is considering the launch of its own state-backed cryptocurrency. Dun dun dun. I don't know how that's going to bring economic stability, but then I was looking at a chart of the Bretton Woods era versus the previous eras, and it was supposed to level out the bangs and the busts of the economy, the wave. It was supposed to make the wave smaller. The wave is way bigger in the Bretton Woods era, in the post-Federal Reserve era, where everything was supposed to be stable and good, thanks to the guiding hand of our friendly central bank. Japanese Bitcoin exchange CoinCheck that lost $500 million, whoopsie, to receive full licensing by end of the year. And it's not as bad as the headline makes it say. The company was sold and made key changes twice at the urging of the government to its operation. And as it's been basically run by a different group of people, they have allowed them to receive their license. So shocking headline, not interesting article. It looks like Bitcoin has found a new bottom, at least for today. Token rallies after an 84% crash from a year ago. And no one knows if this is really the bottom. Of course, many famously have said Bitcoin will go below $3,000. We're still holding on, waiting for that, seeing if that happens. This could be a bull trap where it goes up for a little bit, then it goes right back down, then maybe someday it goes up again. Or this could be the end where everyone was exhausted, everyone was done, and then somebody started buying. Of course, it'll continue to go up and down. And finally, today, BitTorrent creator aims to kill Bitcoin with the green cryptocurrency Chia. And an interesting project from Bram Cohen. It's not called the Naughties, it's the Aughts or the 90s and the Aughts. His new creation, Chia, is a green money for the digital world, which once again uses proof of space. Very similar, it sounds, to proof of stake. You'll put up hard disk space, and the hard disk space will be where the mining occurs. I'm not exactly sure, it's not entirely clear. Everyone has hard disk space. Why not use it to mining? He claims that it'll also be more secure, less electricity usage, more secure, and allegedly some kind of defense against a proof of time attack, although an actor could still attack them with proof of time. The main thing I'm not seeing here is a reason to use this Chia cryptocurrency. It's greener than Bitcoin. It claims to be more secure, but why would you use it and what would you use it for? So you're forgetting, of course, about the network effect and why Bitcoin is already so valuable and already so difficult to get rid of. Everyone says, why can't we have a new Facebook? Why can't we have a new Twitter? Part of it is because of the network effect, which is also called network externality or demand side economies of scale. It's the positive effect described in economics and business that an additional user of a good or service has on the value of that product to others. When a network effect is present, the value of a product or service increases according to the number of other users using it. The classic example is a telephone, where a greater number of users increases the value to each. A positive externality is created when a telephone is purchased without its owner intending to create value for other users, but does so regardless. Online social networks work similarly, with sites like Twitter and Facebook increasing in value to each member the more users join. The network effect can create a bandwagon effect as the network becomes more valuable and more people join, creating a positive feedback loop. And that's what Bitcoin has right now. More people join. Even if they want to get into the altcoins, they still have to get a little bit into Bitcoin. Although enemies of Bitcoin are trying to change that, offering direct swaps where you wouldn't have to trade from Litecoin to Bitcoin, from Bitcoin to Ethereum. You could just swap it directly with their exchange, or offering the ability to trade directly from USD to Ethereum, directly from USD to Litecoin, things like this, where you don't have to use Bitcoin anymore. However, most people still get into cryptocurrency through Bitcoin. They try Bitcoin, and thus Bitcoin continues to have the network effect. It would be very difficult to see where these other coins will actually get their network effect, at least network effect large enough to challenge Bitcoin. As Trace Mayer has said several times, there are 7 network effects of Bitcoin. Number 1, speculation. Number 2, merchant adoption. Number 3, consumer adoption. Number 4, security. Number 5, developer mindshare. Number 6, financialization. And number 7, adoption as a world reserve currency. So Bitcoin is a strong currency. It thrives on the internet. It frees users from third parties. It saves merchants money. It is deflationary. Its code can be audited by all. Its developers work tirelessly to improve upon it. The list goes on and on. The above listed network effects can only serve to strengthen it. Competitors, beware. Checking out the price of Bitcoin on Bitstamp right now. Looks like we've tagged a little red candle on there, looking at the 6-hour view, zooming into the 4-hour, the 2-hour, the 1-hour, the 30-minute. Oh, it's exciting. Looking at the 1-hour, a couple of ups and downs. We might have hit a little mini top here at 38.50. Looking at the price of Bitcoin right now, it's $3,772 on Bitstamp. And check out the World Crypto Network podcast. Did you know you could listen to this show and other shows like it on iTunes for free? That's right. Subscribe to the World Crypto Network podcast today and be sure to leave us a rating. We have 55 customer ratings, and I think we could get to 100. Also, 4-star reviews. Wow. Nice. Thanks for your support. Check out the Mad Bitcoins Patreon, where 57 patrons are donating $368 a month to support this show. Subscribe monthly with your credit card. Pay as much or as little as you want at the Mad Bitcoins Patreon. Check out Tallycoin, where we're raising Bitcoin to help support the show. We've gone up in value because the price of Bitcoin has gone up. Hey, that's been a while since that's worked for us. But we'd like to thank our two most recent donors, donor zero point 0.1. Well, that's too easy to read. And donor 0.002891. Thanks so much for your support. Remember, you can donate any amount of Bitcoin you want to the show, 5, 10, 100, whatever. No problem. Bitcoin will take it and accept it right here. And we're taking your phone calls now on Bitcoin Talk Show. It's an interactive program. You need to call in. Otherwise, I'll just talk about the HBO show Future Man. I watched all the little making of behind the scenes shows about it today. It was super fun. It's created by Seth Rogen, has a time travel plot in it, very similar to The Last Starfighter and Terminator. It's a fun show, Future Man. But check it out. You can Skype us now on World Crypto Network on Skype, all one word, or at 518 600 1949. I might read a little bit more of this skyscraper book. We could stare endlessly at the charts. We've got a lot of options here today. We're starting a little late at 9:30. It's good to see we have about 44 viewers sticking in there, fighting it out through this bear market or simple bull market or whatever we've got. We did dip a little. Looks like 39.24, a high on this chart, at least on a Bitstamp, before a little bit of a minor dip back, but to 37.88. Bitcoin dipping about $200, it seems, a $200 range on the 1 hour chart. Checking out the chat. What's been going on? See a lot of people saying hello, but not much else. It was funny. There was no sound this morning. So no audio when book. Oh, hi there. He's reading a picture book. Ah, telepathy. You guys just weren't using your third eye. You needed to open up and I'll broadcast directly into there. Uh, I wish that I could read the chat because I was reading the book with no sound. Yep, yep. And I started over a little bit. They say Jake says BitPay are the worst. They won't even show you a plain address. And I've seen that more and more, especially with the like a political website. If you want to donate Bitcoin to them, you have to fill out several forms before you can donate the Bitcoin. They never want to show you that straight QR code, that straight Bitcoin address, because then you could pay from anywhere and anything, and they can't KYC you as well. BitPay and Coinbase are both mysterious businesses to me. When I first got on the scene back in 2013, part of what drew me to Bitcoin and why I was more attracted to it then than when I first read about it in 2010 is that Coinbase and BitPay had built these great businesses around Bitcoin and that you could actually use it. I could actually connect my bank account and buy some and not feel like I was using some strange website where my bank account would be stolen or that kind of thing. And then BitPay allowed merchants to use Bitcoin. So it gave me something to talk about. I could say, hey, you're a merchant, you have a shop. Why don't you take this crazy Bitcoin? Maybe it goes up in value and you can pay off your shop, or maybe it goes up and down, that kind of thing. So it's very funny to see how far both of them and in which strange directions both of them have fallen. Coinbase for a long time has given up their original model, which was sell people Bitcoin, host people's Bitcoin, be a Bitcoin company. And now they're going after that title of being the Crypsy company. They want to be the most Crypsy that they can be. So they're having, I don't know, they have about 50 coins so far, maybe. Crypsy had about 100, maybe 200 at the height. Remember, Crypsy just kept adding wallets and wallets and wallets until this thing allegedly happened with Lucky 7 coin, where they built a Trojan horse into their wallet that then got into Crypsy's system and allowed them to be stolen from. Or Crypsy allegedly exit scam. Nobody knows. Nobody knows if Coinbase is going to do the same thing. But it is funny to see these exchanges go down the same path. Usually they start out kind of reasonable. They're like, "Oh, we have a couple of coins and we're very conservative with our security and we're very conservative with what's a coin and what's a real thing." And then they're like they just get kind of seduced by the dark side. They're like, "Oh, we could make some sweet profits if we had that coin." And what happens is Coinbase, the follower forever, they're like, "Oh, Bitfinex has more coins than us, and Poloniex has more coins than us, and we should chase after them. We should get those sweet, sweet altcoin fees, and we'll get everybody trading. Because what's important is you have to be buying and selling to generate those fees. And if you're just buying Bitcoin and being happy and watching it go up and down or whatever, you're not generating any fees. Coinbase doesn't have a way to make money off you. And remember the original Bitcoin thing, sites like Tallycoin or ProTip or stuff like that, we can't get into your wallet at all. So we can't take a 10% cut on your money. Sure, Coinbase can because they have more of a simulated Bitcoin system. But if they delivered anything like what people want, an actual real Bitcoin system, you can't get into the people's money to take your monthly cut. That means people have to actually send you the money. And no one's just going to send money for Coinbase not doing anything if they're not selling things. So they need people to be buying and selling. They need more things to buy and sell. And that's why they're now going after this cryptification thing. On the other hand, you got BitPay. BitPay, for a while there, their business model was threatened by the transaction fees. When it was too expensive to send Bitcoin, no one was using it for merchants. So at that point, they really did have a problem. There was a legitimate reason for them to go into Litecoin or something like that. And then finally, of course, for them to go into Bitcoin Cash. Sure, I think it's short-sighted and a mistake to put your long-term future of your company into a coin that doesn't scale and that has severe emotional problems as well. But that's just what they did, right? They went all into Bitcoin Cash, just like other Bitcoin merchant companies who had problems during the high fee era, and they gave up, right? They couldn't wait for Lightning Network. It wasn't here yet. And then some of them have even doubted the Lightning Network and saying it's an altcoin or saying it's not the real thing or that it won't scale or it's a different coin or it's a token. You just created a token or a new coin or some kind of thing. They have all kinds of reasons and excuses why we can't improve Bitcoin. The one, so that's Coinbase and that's BitPay, and that's what happened to them. They used to be Bitcoin companies. Now they're more drifting. They're kind of lost. They don't know who they are. Maybe this new thing works for them. Certainly, Coinbase is looking like it's going to be a unicorn and a $1 billion company, and everyone's very excited on the stock market. Of course, early Bitcoin users couldn't buy into Coinbase either, just like eBay. We built the company. We told everyone to use it, all that kind of thing. And what do we get for it? Whole lot of nothing. So not very democratic or dramatic or transformative in the same way that Bitcoin was, because Bitcoin you could actually buy. It went up in value. The normal people who invested made some money, even if you lost some money. Checking out the chat. Jay says, green makes the soul soar. Yeah, people are in a better mood when the market goes up a little. All the altcoins were up. I saw Crypto Graffiti had a great graphic. Let me see. I'm not sure if I can get it up. We'll see if we can pull this on the live here. We'll get it live. But he had a great graphic. Looked like kids opening their Christmas presents. Um, I didn't retweet it. Oh, bad person I am. But yeah, Crypto Graffiti had kids opening their Christmas presents, but they had pictures of that. Here it is, of that green screen that keeps going around with all the different coins and how big the markets are. And it's got Bitcoin up 7% and Ripple up 11 and Ethereum up 10 and the kids opening it. And I'm pretty sure the kids were previously holding like Nintendo Entertainment Systems or Atari 2600s or really great gifts. There's another one. Great job, Crypto Graffiti. Really captures the moment of the turnaround and having a little bit of green, even if I'm still afraid we're going to dip again and we're going to go up and down. And this is one of those short ups that makes us feel good. But yeah, Coinbase, Cryptsy, Mint Pal, Crypto Rush. Bye bye. Richie Rich says. Richie also says BitPay and Coinbase are old school companies that become scams because the founders are just greedy pieces of garbage looking to make as much money while fucking over their users. It's hard not to disagree with that. It's nice to see companies like Amazon maintain their quality. I don't know at one point Amazon will become a monopoly and it'll become a money guzzler and it'll up all its prices and we'll really hate it. But right now, we can still say Amazon provides a lot of use. They've always provided a lot of value and use to me, selling me books. They've never changed really in my eyes. I guess they sell everything in the world now, which is amazing, and I buy everything in the world there too. But books, books. So, yes, Richie says they were seduced by the greed and the dark side. Lucid says they're getting diversity for the sake of diversity. That's not a good plan. They say Brian Armstrong is a garbage man, a trash can fire. Excuse me, a trash can fire, as Richard Hart says. Lol. I just got to drink a little water. I talk so long without breaks when we don't get calls like this. So I have to just talk, talk, talk. And then sometimes I'm muted. So let's see. Sorry, coughing and drinking water. Casso says, Thomas, tell us about the similarity of the rising internet. When the internet came out, I don't know. I had a fun conversation with my brother this morning. We were talking about how great it was that Amazon delivers us pet food now. And I don't know if you guys have done this, but it's one of the great little simple life hacks out there. If you have a dog or maybe a cat, you can set Amazon to deliver your food on, say, a monthly schedule, and they'll just deliver a huge bag of food in a box to your front step. And this is fantastic because you don't have to go to the pet store. This same idea is pets.com, right? This is pets.com. Order your food online, manage it right there, get the kind of food you want, put your complaints in, customer service, that kind of thing. But pets.com was way too early. In the same way, Bitcoin is also way too early. We're not there yet. The infrastructure is not there yet. I'm wearing a Easy Bit hat this morning from my friend Mike Dupree. Shout out to Mike and Easy Bit. Cool stuff. They do Bitcoin ATMs out of Spain. Not paid to wear this hat, just I found it at Mike's house while I was in Malta, and I was like, "Sweet hat." So I figured I'd wear it today. I found it in the closet from my European vacation. But uh, EasyBit, companies that put Bitcoin ATM in spaces, wallet software that's really easy to use, backup software, Trezors, ledgers, open dimes, things that are really easy to use. I think we're getting there. I think we have people approaching. We're approaching there on all fronts, right? On all fronts, we're approaching there. We've got good people working on it. We have the ideas. We have the possibility, like Bitcoin can do the things we want it to do, but we just need a little bit more time to get there. And that's what this logarithmic rolling chart is about. We're attempting to discover the price of this asset. We're attempting to discover the value of this asset, but this asset is based on software, and the software is changing and improving all the time. Sometimes not improving, sometimes, having problems, then improving, so and forth. We can't see this as just a normal company or just a normal, internet stock. This is a software. You're buying into a protocol layer. You're buying a piece of the protocol. And again, much like the smart contracts of Ethereum, in some ways, you're buying it thinking that you're going to be able to use it in the future, that you're going to be able to use it to send value around, whether it's a small purchase, a large purchase, or even just sending it back to Coinbase or whatever to trade it in for USD. You're buying it partially because of the utilitarian value of the Bitcoin. So it is a complex thing, and it is like the early internet. We are very early. We're early pioneers. We're still like, I don't know, the early internet. Software updates used to be such a big deal. The difference between Netscape 3 and Netscape 4, Netscape 4 and Netscape 5, the things that would come to you, the features that would come, the way that HTML was improving at the same time that the web browser was improving, at the same time that the Windows 95 or Mac OS, the graphical interface behind you, was improving. Everything was on this improvement scale. And the internet was, again, the kind of thing where at first it was me and my friends, me and my nerd buddies on the BBSs. We would get on the internet, or we would go to college campuses or high schools. If you're lucky, they would have a way to access the internet. and it was very small and very few people were in it. And in the same way, Bitcoin was like that 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe even more. It was very small. But Bitcoin has gotten much bigger. And Bitcoin is still not as big as it needs to be, and also not as big as it needs to be to take off. We're not there yet. We need way more fuel. So we need more people. Part of what we're doing right here on the World Crypto Network is education. This show is a discussion show, it's an opinion show, it's a news and a topical show. But we also want to focus on educational videos explaining why things work, how things work, and promoting the idea that you can learn about Bitcoin, that it's not too hard. One of the great things I've learned on YouTube is that I can learn anything by watching YouTube videos. And I really mean that. Even difficult things like changing the oil in your car or fixing your pool pump or how to properly sweep a room or how to work on maybe a piece of machinery that you've never seen before, like how to fly an airplane, stuff like that. You can learn it on YouTube. And I think in the same way, you should be able to learn how to buy Bitcoin. You should be able to learn to understand Bitcoin in the same way that some of us who have maybe read a lot of economics textbooks or read a lot of web page, really done a lot of rabbit hole research to figure out this thing, understand it, and that you don't need a lifetime of preparation and a lifetime of economics reading to understand Bitcoin and to use it and to benefit. And you don't need, in the same way, a lifetime of computer science reading that you could do that. Yeah, I know that kid. But yeah, it's the same kind of thing. So you just have these other options, and that we can get more people into Bitcoin with education. We can do it with everyone's help. So it's a good time to get your friends and family into Bitcoin. I know it's been rough. Those of you who got your friends and family into Bitcoin at the top and have seen them lose money, to them you have to give the rough advice that you have to double down or you have to put more in. You have to adjust your holdings. If you invested too much, you have to get out. But you have to weigh your options and look at various things. Looks like my server disconnect. That would explain. No, it's still there. But yeah, you have to tell them, and you have to tell your other family now that hasn't ever bought, that it is a good time to buy, that there is options, and not to buy a lot, maybe to buy a little bit, try it off. There's a lot of different options. So, and just in general, get them to try it out. Get them to try Bitcoin out. Get them to send a little Bitcoin around. I think this is more of an interactive medium. This is not like a stock. You could say, oh, get a Facebook stock, and you go to E-Trade and you kind of get a Facebook stock. It's not like they send you anything or anything like that, but you get a Facebook stock and you can't really do much with it. Bitcoin's not like that. Bitcoin's like a Facebook stock that you can send around to your friend. You can break it up into little pieces. You can send it here and buy something. You can send it there and use it for something else. You can break it up into really small pieces and you can put it on the Lightning Network, and you can use the really small pieces to pay for things. So it is more interactive, and I think we need to be more teaching people how to create paper wallets, teaching people how to create Bitcoin wallets, how to move it around. Even the trading thing, if you want to transfer it to an exchange like Bittrex and trade it for some crazy altcoins, or go to Coinbase that used to be nice and pure and clean and trade it for some crazy altcoins, you can do that because it's a cryptocurrency that can be sent around. It's not just a still or a boring thing. It's a thing with movement. It's a thing that does something. It's a useful thing. So you got to try it out. Checking in with the chat. See what they're saying here. Oh, it's a great video. Corey says, there's a great video from back in the day of Vitalik following Thomas down the street during a broadcast when he was just an unknown programmer. Nah, I knew who he was. That's Vitalik. He's just a normal kid. And that was at my friend Jason King. He had just run across America powered by Bitcoin. They had a bus and they were, Jason was running, and then they'd sleep in the RV, and then he'd run the next day. And he ran all the way across the country powered by Bitcoin, sponsored by BitPay and CryptoKit and all the OG original companies. And it was very cool. And we went to the final thing in San Francisco. We were there early. We spotted Vitalik because he had a Bitcoin sticker on his phone, and I'd seen him at some Bitcoin meetups. I knew his name. I knew who he was. He's a good dude. And yeah, we hung out with Vitalik. My friend Ryan Singer's there. Ryan's working on Chia now. You can see all of the original BitPay employees in there, BitPage, some of the other people who are early BitPayers. And of course, Davi and Drew from Bitcoin Not Bombs are there. And you can see it. There's Vitalik. And there's one point where we're interviewing Jason. And Vitalik's walking next to Jason because Jason knows Vitalik and I know Jason and stuff. And Vitalik converts it into kilometers. And he's like, oh, it was exactly this number of kilometers. Perfect. And it's funny stuff. You can check it out. And it's back there in the old WCN archives. You can check that out. Yep, Vitalik hanging out. Corey says that mom won't believe in the logarithmic chart. That's true. It might be tough to get them to invest, serious money, but I'm still talking about $10, $100. Um, just try out money and the kind of thing where if we're right and Bitcoin does go back up and everything's fine, their $100 becomes $300, and they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. I want to try that again. I want to do that Bitcoin thing again. But to me, it's more about not about teaching them that it can go up in value or teaching them about trading or about the ups and the downs and the candlesticks and all this stuff. It's more about teaching them how to use Bitcoin, how to actually send it around, how to actually do something with it, and what it's for, and that it's for sending around. So let's see. Welcome back, says Jose. Thanks, Jose. It's good to be back. I'm trying to do this show every once in a while. I skipped yesterday, did some work, and back today. Probably skip tomorrow, do some work. Maybe back on Friday. Probably doing some travel on Friday, but we'll see. I'll try to get a schedule going. And it's good to see that we still have lots of good videos here for you on the World Crypto Network. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and a share right now. And if you haven't already, subscribe down below. Max has been doing a great job putting out some help videos. We have some how to use Wasabi wallet series. We've got this newsletter series. You can get the hip new newsletters. And again, it's like a big channel here. So if you're into Bitcoin Talk Show but maybe not into help videos, you don't have to watch them. You can skip them. It's all right. But if you're into help videos and not into Bitcoin Talk Show, you don't have to watch Bitcoin Talk Show. And it's also good to have the option. I think some people think Bitcoin Talk Show is too long, although I think you can listen to it in 10, 15-minute, bits here and there. You can turn it off and on. But it's good to have some shorter videos. And I definitely want to work on all those kind of things in the new year, try to make different kind of videos. And remember, we're also going out to audio podcasts here. So a lot of people are just listening to the sound of my voice. So they don't care at all about the YouTubes and the thumbs up and all these kind of things. They're on a whole nother wavelength. So shout out to the podcast people. Keep it up out there. Be sure to donate every once in a while. I know you can't see the QR codes, but if you go to worldcryptonetwork.com, I'm sure we have a QR code there. Or you could sign up at patreon.com/madbitcoins. And yeah, join the World Crypto Network. Make your own videos. Join us on Slack. Be part of the chat. Be part of the contributions. Like Jeremy here in the chat. Big fan of Jeremy. He does lots of timestamps for our videos. Just a volunteer. You could do timestamps. You could do add. Start discussions. Have comments. Start comments in the chat. Do all that kind of stuff. We need everybody working together here on the World Crypto Network. Actually, it'd be great if I could pull up yesterday's videos. I should do some yesterday's comments. That'd be good because we have been getting comments. It's been pretty cool. They're saying someone should call in. I'll put the number up one more time. Then we're going to go towards yesterday's comments. Checking out the price of Bitcoin. Looks like 3,781, down a little bit from a top around 39.24. You can call us now at Skype World Crypto Network, all one word, or at 518 600 1949. We are checking out Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin, and all of the exciting stories that we covered already in the news. If you missed the news, you could always rewind to the beginning of the show, catch the news, and then jump back to where we are now. Trying to get yesterday's comments, but I went to today's video. That's not going to work. So actually going to the right video this time, and we're seeing about yesterday's comments. That's right. Yesterday's comments. So thanks so much to Broadhurst Gardens, who says, appreciate the effort you put into Bitcoin. Sent you $50. Thanks so much for your support. Metal Gear MK3 says, Bitcoin to 1200 before the next bull run. John McAfee might have to cut off his wiener in the coming years. And remember, John McAfee did famously say that he would eat his own dick. So I don't know if that's going to be some kind of a he whimpers out of it and he eats part of his dick, or he cuts off part of it and eats it, or whether he has to eat the whole thing. I don't know. I'm certainly not holding him to it or requiring that he do it. But John McAfee did famously bet that the price of Bitcoin would go up. I think it was to like $1 million by 2020, or he would eat his own dick. So good luck with that, Mr. McAfee. Sounds awful. Roger 9000 says, awesome show, Thomas. Mad Bitcoins. Good stuff. Thanks, Roger. LA says, thanks for doing the show. Wish I could support you financially. Oh, thanks so much, man. And Ken Threed says, yo, Thomas, SBS, shilling CTW on WCN, WTF. I'm impressed by his ability to express everything in a 3-letter abbreviation. So let's break this down. Shembu Spain, that's SBS. CTW, it's got to be Craig Wright, but I didn't know his middle name was T. And WCN, that's us, World Crypto Network. WTF, I know what that means. So Shem, shilling, Craig Wright on WCN. Again, the shilling thing, shilling is that you're paid for something and that you're mentioning it over and over again, right? So let's be sure to define shilling. So yeah, yesterday Shem did a show about Bitcoin SV, and it sounds like he's interested in Bitcoin SV. So we're about to go through another one of those nightmare situations where people fall in love with an altcoin. A little pause for water. Again, nothing against Shem. He has the right to think his own ways in this, and maybe Bitcoin SV is better than Bitcoin Cash. I don't know that it's better than real Bitcoin, but it's interesting for people to think this out. And we have to allow Shem the intellectual freedom to look into this Bitcoin SV. I think I looked yesterday, it looked like he'd already done maybe 2 or 3 other SV videos on some kind of a Bitcoin SV crypto channel. So I hope he won't have to run away to that. Although, as you can see, the audience reaction is already pretty tough. It's already this World Crypto Network is shilling, World Crypto Network is owned, all this, that there's this instant idea that we're just going to vilify and get rid of. But the problem is we're just going to keep making videos, and that, the vilification doesn't stick because it's not very real. Like, I'm not a Bitcoin SVer. Andy Hoffman's not. Other people here, Max isn't. Other people on the World Crypto Network are not. But we have the strength in our beliefs to allow Shem the ability to have his beliefs, right? I don't have to jump down on him and say, oh, he's a shiller and I have to crush him, right? We don't do that here. I mean, Andy liked B Rhodium, and we allowed Andy to discuss B Rhodium on his Twitter account, because that's his Twitter account. The same way Shem can discuss Bitcoin SV on his Twitter account, and if he feels he wants to make another YouTube channel for that, he can do that, and he can still check in with us and give us the future of Bitcoin and maybe tell us a little about what's going on with SV or whatever. We're not fighting again here, but the audience is always really quick to say that we're shilling and to attack us. And I think part of that's a good thing. I think that's because the audience thinks that we've done something valuable here, and they don't want to lose that valuable thing, and they're trying to protect that. So I do understand the aspect of the audience and the fact that they want us to be ideologically pure and perfect and clean all the time. But just like with the price, you don't know if it's going up or down. With these crazy altcoins, you don't know if they're going up and down. You don't know which Bitcoin is going to be a winner. We can't be prejudging all the time, even though personally, I'm with Bitcoin. So, and I've been with Bitcoin. So if you're doubting me and stuff, I got to work on that. As going back, like they're saying here, the idea of SV. So why do people think that Craig S. Wright is going to replace the internet with SV? So I've heard this replace the internet thing. First, I think just the basic ideas here, Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash. We had a scaling problem. Bitcoin Cash wanted to do this thing they do in government called kick the can down the road, where you just make the block size bigger and then you have more disk space, essentially. The problem with that is you make the airplane heavier. Bitcoin's an airplane circling the globe 24/7, 365. It never lands, it refuels in midair. So if you make it heavier, it's going to make it harder to keep it up there, right? Just at a very basic physics level, even if you distribute the weight and it's technically fine, it's still a heavier airplane. So they wanted bigger blocks. Allegedly, this is the reason. This might have been a fight over ASIC boost, which was a way to run your miners more efficiently that would have been broken if you switched to segregated witness. Segregated witness, the solution for scaling provided by the Bitcoin team, basically allows you to have second layer solutions like the Lightning Network, which are then pegged to the Bitcoin transactions. So that's what that first fight was about. The second fight between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Cash SV, which is now calling itself Bitcoin SV, is again allegedly about the block size, but really about control. Uh, Bitcoin is a repository on GitHub. Certain people do have write access to it. Miners have the choice whether or not they can apply the updates. They can choose not to apply the updates if they don't like the code that has been produced by the coders. With Bitcoin Cash, they moved control from that original Bitcoin repo to a new Bitcoin repo. With this new move from Bitcoin Cash to Bitcoin Cash SV, control of the repo now moves from whoever the Bitcoin Cash developers were to alleged fake Satoshi Craig Wright and his team. Right. So that's one of the main moves is the control move. The other move is allegedly, and what I've read is that Bitcoin Cash Satoshi's vision has, I want to say, 128 meg blocks. So it has really, really big blocks. So the block started out at 2 megs. Bitcoin Cash had 8 megs. They might have done a hard fork or something, bring it up to 16, something like that. These numbers might be slightly off, so don't use them for your calculations, but generally they're pretty close. And Bitcoin Cash SV allegedly has 128 megabyte blocks, with the idea being that they could even go bigger, maybe even gigabyte blocks. This comes back to something that Craig Wright said about the size of the nodes. For Bitcoin right now, the nodes are pretty small. They could be run on a Raspberry Pi or a small computer with a hard drive. Craig Wright prefers that the nodes be more like servers in a computer with giant hard drives and awesome network access and all this kind of stuff. So it's a difference on how big the node should be, how big the size of the block should be, and that the control is also what's going on. Now, replacing the internet. I'm not sure about that replacing the internet thing. I want to say that it's something like, when we send a web page, we don't send any money, but maybe if we sent a micro penny to get that web page, that the internet would work differently. So if you could have all of the transactions, like infinite transactions or whatever they're offering with their never-ending block size updates, maybe you could have enough transactions to do that for the internet. That's only a guess, kind of an extrapolation. I'm not sure exactly what they mean by replacing the internet. I also wasn't sure what Shem meant by wormhole coin and this idea that you could burn Bitcoin, then have wormhole coin that showed as a proof of burn, and that everyone would burn their Bitcoin to get the wormhole coin. I'm not sure why a lot of these things work out or if they work out economically, but something happens in people's heads, and similar maybe in the way that B rhodium's having a less of a supply attracted Andy and other people that are gold bugs and that are into the less supply thing, or former previous gold people. Maybe in the same way, this Bitcoin Cash SV has convinced people that are afraid of the internet being replaced that it will be replaced. I'm going to catch up with the chat, see if you guys have any more information on Bitcoin SV, because again, I'm not, that's the comments, but here's the chat. Whoa, it scrolled really fast. Let's see what you guys have to say about Bitcoin SV. Let's see. They like Safe Deem. He said, being into shit coins or not is like an IQ test. That's funny. But I think in the same way, though, we can't be mean to people that are low IQ. If people want to try out a shit coin, or some people even make millions of dollars in shit coins, they go up and down. The value might be there short term. Long term, I'm not so sure. Let's see. Is it an artificial pump? I don't know. Dead man walking. Let's see. The first Ford Mode T1 cost the same amount in gold as today's latest Ford model. Andy knows this. And it is true that scarce things like gold can be very useful currencies. One of the classic things with gold is that for about, I'm gonna pour some water here. For about $20 in gold in Roman times, you could get, kind of like a steak and some vegetables and a drink. And the same thing now, you can get a steak, vegetables, and a drink for about $20 worth of gold, and that's supposed to be why gold is stable forever. It maintains its purchasing power. Let's see. With SV, I always think about a mobile home behind your car. I don't know why. It does kind of have a car feeling to it, like a Jeep Ranchero XV or XR. It's like it's a version number. But again, I think that's a very clever move by the Bitcoin SV people because they want you to call it Bitcoin. They want it to be abbreviated. They want it to be short. And I think it's a smart move again when I see their ticker symbol is BSV. So very easy, BCH, BSV. I remember BCH tried to use BitConnect symbol at first. It was BCC. They tried to use Bitcoin symbol at first. It was BTC, that kind of thing. So gamble on Bitstamp, roadmaps. That's offensive to compare mentally challenged people to CSW. That is rough. They say you burn Bcash, not Bitcoin. So the wormhole is a Bcash problem, not a Bitcoin problem. So that sounds good to me. Was there not another coin with a total supply of only 14? I don't know of a 14 coin. I do know of 42 coin, where there was 42 of them, and I know of a ONE coin that came out before OneCoin, where there was actually one coin. So if you had a point one of one coin, you would be ridiculously rich if scarcity was the only thing that people valued on. And it's not, though. Pure scarcity doesn't matter. Rarity without a market doesn't matter. It's like the Beanie Babies, right? It's that kind of thing. They say time for vodka. trigger heavy bear market with vodka. And waiting for the Fed. Do you think the Fed will hike interest rates? Because if they don't, it's a good buy for the stock market. And will they hike interest rates? I haven't taken too much look at it. I think the answer was that they won't, right? I don't know. Let's see. Fed interest rates. We'll look that up. Because they've done it for too long. The last monetary announcement of 2018, Yahoo says they have a preview. Live analysis from the Wall Street Journal. They're expected to announce a rate hike, it says an hour ago on CBS News. So let's see what's going on. They announced online at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. At 2:30 p.m., Jerome Powell will have a press conference. He'll take questions. If the interest rates goes up, this is the rate that banks pay to borrow from each other over very short time periods, currently between 2 and 2.25%. It in turn affects the rates all over the economy. After a rate hike, credit card companies usually raise interest rates. Banks wait longer, and savings account interest rates go higher too. What else are they announcing? So that's if it goes up. It goes down the opposite. Live decision on the Wall Street Journal. But yeah, it looks like it's not happening. Let's see. Time EST. Yeah, it's not happening for another hour at least. So it's likely that we're going to hang out that long. Yeah, half hour till they start, but another half hour after that. Sounds like they have a pregame show. Shift says they can't hike them, Jeremy says. Audio video tweaker says if they don't, the market will be majorly spooked. Tyler Jenks laid it out today. So check out Tyler's show over there. He says they hike, but then they signal the market they will back off and not hike next year or at all, not 3 times. because it does seem like they've raised it several times recently. Uh, Not really prepared on the Federal Reserve issue, but it is a major story in the news. I have seen people talking about it. They are discussing it. Checking out some crypto graffiti artwork right here on the Twitter. His great piece today of the kids unboxing what I think are their video game systems, but it's really just a screen full of red with the altcoins recovering. We're trying to keep the show open for some phone calls, but if there's not a lot of phone calls today, I think we did have some more yesterday's comments. Let me see if I can pull those up. We have so many videos on the World Crypto Network now. It's great. I'm still putting out the last of my interviews from Malta, so you can check those out. We'll have a few more of those coming out over the next holiday weeks. There's maybe one more interview from 2017. I went back and cut these up from the live stream. These have been available, but they've been locked inside of like a 6-hour live stream. So I thought that was okay, and we got pretty good views for it. But when it came time to put them into playlists, I couldn't find all my interviews because they were in a giant live stream. So I went through and cut them out. And now we're going to have more playlists with interviews. And that's going to be really great because you can watch when we interviewed someone in 2013 and 14, 15, 16, how their opinions changed, how they changed, that kind of thing. And you can just learn from these great people that we've interviewed. It's been really fun to be involved in Bitcoin this long. This is the one I looked at already. Where's the other one? It's been a couple of days. And let's see, everyone's favorite part of the show, yesterday's comments. Yesterday's comments. And Luminary Win says both and any version of Bcash equals B trash. And Craig agrees. He says correct, as are altcoins, as are all altcoins. Kenshiro Dark says, I've been here since you had that Mad Bitcoin show 4 to 5 years ago. Holding, keeping on strong. So thanks so much, Kenshiro. Thanks for joining us. Craig Ship says, it's not positive to talk about all the money people have lost in Bitcoin. Those who have lost money bought high and sold low. That is not a smart move. So why talk about them? Why not point out those who bought low and sold high and made money? Also, point out those who continue to hold long term may make a lot of money. If and when Bitcoin goes to zero and shuts down for good, you can talk about all the money folks have lost in Bitcoin. There's no reason to talk about it now because the game is still in progress. The end of the story is yet to be told. Don't jump the gun. And I agree. I hope we're at the beginning of a very long story, but still in the short term, a lot of people have suffered losses. And a lot of people have lost profits, which I know you never had the money. It doesn't matter, all that kind of thing. But still, when you've lost a profit that could change your life and you had to sell it for less on the way down, and even if it goes back up to triple or quadruple or whatever you used to be, you're still going to be down. So it is a tough position. And I try to talk about these things in the same way that I respect Peter McCormick's tweets from a couple of days ago, where he explained his situation, because we have to be honest and forthright with these things, because a lot of other people are suffering from this and they don't say anything, or they don't have anyone to talk to, and they can't do anything. They can't get any help. So we want to be able to people to know that there is help out there. There are other people like them, that they're not an idiot, that, other smart people and other dumb people have done the same thing, and that we've all had these same kind of problems. So Natty Bumpo says, come on, of course, start small, but withdrawing from Coinbase to Alexum or Trezor or Ledger should not be made out to be so scary and dangerous. Once over the nervous moment before confirmation, it's part of the high that makes the community. A simple withdrawal to one's own Bitcoin is not too much cypherpunkness to ask. And I agree. It's not too much to ask, but we just need to be careful before we ask people to move their entire amount of money. I definitely support people trying out Bitcoin. I think trying out Bitcoin, sending around money is the way to go. No one should just keep their money on an exchange and never learn about Bitcoin. But if you've never tried out Bitcoin before, you've never tried out your Trezor and your Ledger, you don't need to be peer pressured into taking your entire savings off an exchange just because it's January 3rd. All right. It has a bit of a peer pressure to it. It also has a bit of a overt run on exchanges quality. And I love a good bank run as much as anybody else. But it's a bank run. I mean, you're trying to take down the bank. It's not exactly a positive thing. I wish we had a more positive focus on this holiday. We've been talking about it in the World Crypto Network Slack, and I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I don't think people are going to lose their money. I just don't think a lot of people are going to participate. And maybe it becomes a thing every year, and every year this becomes a thing. But what I would promote more about is trying out paper wallets, trying out Trezor and Ledger. Maybe if we all put $10 on a paper wallet and gave 10 of those paper wallets to all of our friends, and told them to stick it in a book or put it in their safe deposit box, or put it in their baby book or wherever their birth certificate is, and just hold it, maybe that would be a more positive result. Giving money away, giving something back to the community, rather than trying to take away from these exchanges, or trying to make them crash on purpose because it would be funny or whatever it is. I don't know, but it's an interesting holiday. I think people have opinions on both sides, and in general, I support it because I support people doing anything with Bitcoin where you learn how to do it. I just want people to be very careful with their money, and not lose it from sending it around for a holiday. And Roger 9000 says, I really dig how you read a passage in the beginning. Too bad I screwed it up today. He says, really nice, man. Brilliant, Thomas. Thanks, Roger. I'm glad you like the passages at the beginning. Sometimes I'm not sure if they turn people off or send people away from the show. But there's also a certain aspect to when you start a live show, there's really not that many people there. So you really should wait a little while before you start the main content of the show. Of course, that changes when it becomes a pre-recorded show, and then anyone can skip around. But by the same purpose, if people don't like reading the book, they can just skip ahead to that or skip to the price. You can also track it graphically, or you could skip on the podcast too. So Robert Roper says, why the depressing title? And the title of the show was, Will Bitcoin Ever Recover to the Moon and Back? Is the market wrong? And basically, I've started titling the shows after the titles of the articles again. So this morning, we had Bitcoin rallies 10%. We had, mass adoption, the rise is starting, these kind of things. Iran, we talked about Iran today. So basically, I'm titling them after the articles. So if the articles have sensationalist titles, then my videos will have sensationalist titles. And hopefully this will draw more attention and more views to the videos who come for the sensationalism, but stay for the awesome talking and the brilliant phone calls and all the other things that make the World Crypto Network and Bitcoin Talk Show a great show. So that's what that title's about. That's what it's about. We should be our own bank. That's right. Would be great to have be an own bank. But it's a responsibility to be your own bank. It's an old thing. So there's a whole thing there. And be your own bank with $10. Give it a try first. You don't have to be your own bank with all of your money at one time. We can wait on that. So checking it out. Derivatives. There's a YouTube channel. You can't talk about anything else. That's true. It has to be very tight. Be your own bank. Well, I mean, the whole point is to have. No, I don't think the whole point is to be your own bank. I think the whole point is to have a store of value that you can send around that isn't owned by a government or a corporation or another person. So it's more about no one being a bank than everyone being a bank. So it's a pretty complex, different thing. So yes, you are your own bank, but it's more about the currency that you hold in your own bank that makes all of that possible, and that currency is decentralized and distributed and not owned, and it's not controlled centrally, so you're not deciding how much to print. Casso says some people are freaking out about proof your keys. Freaking out how? I've seen a lot more bandwagoning maybe than we used to have. People are just like, oh yeah, we should just do whatever everyone else is doing and make shirts and make hats and makes web pages. And maybe that's a good thing. That's like a community feeling. We have a positive community out there. People want to contribute. There's a little bit of desperation though, maybe. Price is down. People would do anything to not think about the price, making a web page or doing some contributions, making some hats or shilling about it all over the internet. Uh, Jeremy says it's prove your keys, not your coins. That is an interesting, word choice, different, way to go with it. I have that same problem right now. I'm in one of my videos I'm working on where, I'm not sure if I should refer to things as the public key or as the Bitcoin address, because they're both the same thing. And so I did a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B, and, I'm not really pleased with either solution, but at the same time, I need people to both know that it's a public key and know that it's a Bitcoin address. So let's see. Casso says on other channels, they are commenting, is this safe or what? They have no clue. So I do think if you haven't explored the idea that you can put your Bitcoin into a hardware wallet, that you should explore the idea. As Russell was saying on yesterday's phone call or a few days ago's phone call, if you have over, $1,000 in Bitcoin, spending $100 or whatever it is on a Trezor or a Ledger isn't that much. It's good to keep something like that valuable in a safe place. And in addition to Coinbase, in addition to a wallet on your phone, you can also keep your Bitcoin in a USB device like a Trezor or a Ledger. So if there is no, if no one knows about these things and they aren't withdrawing their Bitcoin because of that, it's great to spread the word about those things, although that's kind of what those companies should do. And in the same way, if people don't like the exchanges and think that they are doing a fractional reserve, withdrawing your funds is a great way to test the exchange. But yeah, I think it should be done in a safe way. But that's the kind of thing. Maybe this year is the clunky year for proof of keys, and next year is the awesome year. And all the things I'm talking about: paper wallets, generators, easy to use websites, and how to explainers and stuff like that will all be there by next year. So it's a good project started by Trace there. He had a nice simple web page. He explained what it should be about. He tied it up with the Bitcoin birthday there, January 3rd, the day that the Bitcoin actually turned on and started. It was great during the white paper celebration recently. Everyone was like, "Oh, don't celebrate the white paper, celebrate the day it started." And the reality is, guys, we're celebrating everything. We'll take any Bitcoin holiday you got. We celebrate the pizza day. We celebrate Satoshi's birthday that he said was his birthday. That's really this big monetary history day. Satoshi sure was clever with all the little things he chose, including that headline in the Genesis block, the little statements he's made here or there exposing his economic or political views. A lot of little encoded messages there. Not a dummy. Not a dummy, that Satoshi. So either incredibly well planned by a highly intelligent, brainstorming, complicated team, or one incredible genius, right? One incredible genius just showing off his power to the world and disappearing. Unlike it. So let's see. Rage Tester says USB devices die kind of randomly. I would agree with you. It's dangerous if you're just going to store your Bitcoin keys on a flash drive. That was one of the original ways that people would do it. Generally, getting a cheap USB flash drive. I agree, bad idea. But what's great about a Trezor or a Ledger is that they first make you write down your private words, and your private words are a way of getting your private key back. So those words are your backup. So you can create a paper backup to your USB device. I've already had it where my USB slots changed, and all my USB slots are USB-C slots now. So if I want to use a Trezor or a Ledger, I have to put one of those little converters on them. So that's already happened once. If that happens again, you might not be able to convert her back to your Trezor or Ledger. And of course, you don't really want a Bluetooth Trezor or Ledger or a Wi-Fi Trezor or Ledger. The direct connection is part of the security. So yeah, there's a lot of, but I'm sure they'll make a USB-C version next time. That kind of thing. It's all just developing. But yeah, you can try out a Trezor or a Ledger, these hardware wallets. Then you can put your Bitcoin in there. Then it's not on a server, not not on your phone, not on your computer, but it's on the hardware wallet. And really, we're just talking about the key. So in the same way, you could take the private key, write it down on a piece of paper. You could print out a paper wallet, all these kind of things. So AR in the chat says it works. He lost his ledger. He got a new one. He still had access to the chains using his saved passphrase. So once again, make sure you write down your passphrase. They make you re-enter it. They're not just doing that to be jerks. They're serious about it. They need you to enter your passphrase correctly because your passphrase is your keys. But that's what's going on in hardware wallets. We talked about proof of keys. Roger 9000 says, the greatest thing Satoshi did was to disappear. The second greatest was to create Bitcoin. And I think we're going to be doing some disappearing of ourselves right here. We've got 57 patrons on patreon.com/madbitcoins. Join us for as little as $2 or $5 a month. Help support the show, make this show possible. Support Mad Bitcoins, Bitcoin Talk Show on the World Crypto Network. Checking out Tallycoin, see if we can get a refresh. I'm not sure how to get back to the other Tallycoin page. Expand. There's a QR code. But we're checking out Tallycoin. Thanks to everyone for your donations. We're up to $732 towards our goal of $2,000. I think we're about 35% of the way there. Doing very good. 29 people have donated. That's awesome. That's almost half the audience that's watching right now. So if the other half of the audience donated even $1 a piece, we would have way more donations than we have now. So scan that QR code, try out Bitcoin, move it around, send it around. Have a great day. Be sure to subscribe to the World Crypto Network podcast on iTunes. All these shows, but you don't have to watch the videos. You could get hands-free on the podcast. So thanks so much for joining it. Shout out to my friend Mike and EasyBit. I just wore the hat for fun, not a sponsorship thing. Although, if you want to sponsor me to wear your hat, I would wear your hat. I'd mention your company, so on and so forth. So Bitcoin ATMs, EasyBit, my friend Mike. Until next time, bye-bye.